Dun, 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Oh no.
Uh-oh.
The camera B's gone down. Hang on. What?
Already, we just started.
Hang on, guys. Technical difficulty. We're trying to get camera B up, which for some reason went live and shut off. Camera B's gone down. Hang on. What?
Already, we
No,
just
and now
started.
we've got.
Hang on, guys. Technical difficulty. We're trying to get camera B up,
and
which for some reason went live and shut off.
Oh, okay. We got one. All right. So I'm going live. House of Horrors discussion. Go live. 3, 2, 1. Da 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 da. Hey, all right. So just for you guys, pretend like you didn't see any of that. That was all just technology at its finest. Hello and hello. This is House of Horrors, and this is our favorite Hua. This is Alyssa Lauer. She's answering your questions and feeding them to me. You guys can't see her because this is a small thing. You guys with the good camera, which you'll actually get a little bit more of her. There we go. Yeah, so what I do here is I made a film called Plan 9, kind of big for me. And everyone keeps asking what my next big production is going to be, and so I've done many productions in the meantime. In fact, in 1 week or less than a week now, I start shooting something called Seventh Guest, the series, based off of Seventh Guest and 11th Hour, the video games. So that will take up the rest of my year. I shoot until December. We thought 65 days, but it looks like it's going to be 64 days, but I'm sure something will go wrong. There's no way I'm making it all through that without any problems. And so 65 days. I got a quick question I'm going to get to real here. I see it pop up, which is Phil Maison. Is Plan 9 commercially available yet? Yes. Go to Xbox, PlayStation, Amazon, Vudu.
Is that Hulu?
No, Vudu is the Walmart one. It's not on.
Oh.
And then what else is it? Oh man, there's so many more. Google, YouTube. You have to rent it. It does cost money. It's not free, but you could go watch it right now if you want to. Now, if you're looking for physical disc, that doesn't come till early 2017, and I can't say anything more about it yet because the Army brass has muzzled me.
Super secret.
And so they haven't let me give any statements yet on that. But if you go to Vudu is the big one. Walmart has it, and it's pretty cheap there. So like, just go to Vudu, or you can go on your PS4 or Xbox and just type it in your search engine, and you'll find it. Or Amazon, or any of these million wonderful places that just so happen to have me. All right, but now, so who? House of Horrors is the next big project that I'll be working on that's even bigger than Plan 9, which is a monster mashup. The Mummy, Frankenstein, Dracula, Wolfman, Jekyll and, Hyde. Not the Creature from the Black Lagoon, but something like the Creature from the Black Lagoon, because that is copywritten. I will be doing all of this, mixing them up, but I wanted to do something that was really dark and kind of bringing back the darker image of it versus like the cereal box renditions of the monsters that we have, to kind of make them more what's the right word? Like, not brooding, because I think Penny Dreadful has done enough brooding with the monsters till the end of time. I think that they've cried enough and have looked sad and grayish tones.
Very emo.
They're very, very emo. I mean, it's a great show. It was a lot of fun, but man, Frankenstein's monster does not get a break at all, ever. But so we're kind of getting into the more horror aspect of the film, more dark, more gory, nastier, that kind of a thing. And so I'm doing my research. I've done each monster. I've been doing this process for over a year or almost 2 years now, I think. It's been a long time that we've been doing this because I really wanted to get into each monster and kind of understand it and kind of get a feel for the creators, what it was originally intended, so that each monster is represented, because somebody might, like, you might be a fan of the Mummy and you might be a fan of Wolfman, and I got to make sure the Mummy and Wolfman both end up in this production and do well that way. Otherwise, you'll be pissed, or you'll be pissed, or you'll be pissed. There's no camera there, but we're just saying that this is camera 3. So yeah, so I've done Frankenstein's monster. I have done the Wolfman. I have done what else?
Invisible Man.
Invisible Man. I've done Hyde, Creature from the Black Lagoon, and now we are talking about the Mummy. If you want to watch or see any of my curriculum, the movies and books, comics, and things that I am looking at, if you go to Facebook, Demon, it was after you. If you go to Facebook /House of Horrors, all one word, you'll see my curriculum, and you can kind of follow along and watch these movies with me, and we can talk about it together, kids. Hi. So we are in The Mummy 103. So we are almost done with our 10 major films of The Mummy, and then this, if you guys can see it there and there, that is just the curriculum for The Mummy. And I am here. I am number 8, but I have all of this. Wait, we'll do it like Star Wars.
In a galaxy.
In a galaxy far away, there was a mummy. All right. So discussions on The Mummy. Before I get into the actual movies per se, there's a generalization of something I figured out about how the mummies are. There are 2 kinds of mummies. There is the slow, incredibly strong, walking, crunching. He's got one signature move, which is to grab your throat until you're dead. That's all he really does. We got that mummy, and then we have the sorcerer mummy, which is a mummy with like an immense amount of power and is basically like went to Hogwarts and got buried in Egypt and is just like super, super powerful mummy. Which I think would make him the wizard mummy probably the most powerful of all the monsters. If you're going sorcerer. Sponsor. All right. Let's do some questions. We'll do some questions, and we'll talk about the 3 movies on the agenda.
Okay, housekeeping question from an old one from July 7th from Stephen Hart.
Stephen!
All this talk of the Mummy, but what about the daddy?
Oh, well, actually, there is, sometimes they're female, sometimes they're male. It kind of goes back and forth a little bit, which is cool because there really isn't one specific mummy. Like, you know, obviously there's Dracula and Frankenstein's monster, and that's really the one. But with the Mummy, it's kind of a different guy almost every other time. The majority of the Universal films is Carice, and then Imhotep was in the first one and the remake. But that's pretty much it. Oh no, Imhotep I think was in the Hammer film. No, it was Carice. It was Carice was in the Hammer film. They just kind of did a remake of both the Imhotep one, which was kind of like a reboot of Dracula, and then the Carice ones, which was more when Lon Chaney Jr. took over, and that kind of a thing. I see another couple questions on this little guy. I'll grab that, well, because these go to where we can't get to them anymore.
I thought I was writing it down.
Why did you erase the whiteboard? Oh, this man was over my house and wrote a bunch of dick signs. I think it was a dick. Did you get to see it?
I did not.
I think him and Brandy.
I'm sad that I didn't.
Decorated. I wiped it because I had to use it for things that were important. Not that dicks aren't important, but they were not important in my life right now. Right now on the big whiteboard, I've been as all the deliverables for Skeleton Key 3 Part 2. I have to do a lot of stuff for the post to get it all ready to go. Next question, Phil, excuse me. Manzon, what is your favorite movie monster, and do you ever make appearances at horror conventions? First favorite monster, well, it changes because like when I started this, Wolfman was definitely my number 1, followed by Hyde. However, going through this research and watching all of these movies and digging into the books and stuff, I kind of have found a respect for a lot more of them than I thought I would. Because like Frankenstein's monster was definitely like my least favorite one. But as it progressed, he went up the charts for me. I liked him a whole lot more. The other one, I would have said Wolfman right from the beginning. That was my number one. However, the Wolfman is not a werewolf. He's different. It's a bloodlust thing. It's not about, he's not animalistic. He's like demon dog. So Wolfman might not be my favorite anymore, but he was my favorite before I started. But I guess I have to wait my judgment until we get through all of these, because it keeps changing now. I kind of love them all in different ways because they all have these different richnesses to them. But definitely my first favorite would be the Wolfman, and he's holding strong, but I have a feeling he's going to get knocked off the list. And do I do appearances at horror conventions? I do. I haven't done one in a long time because I've been making too many movies. Last year, I got to go to Poland for one. That was really cool. Although that was pop culture. It wasn't a horror. I want to go back to more. So, Phil, if you're still listening, if you're still watching, what is a horror convention that you think I should think about going to? Because I need to, in 2017, I want to do more conventions and see more people. Because
I heard you say that about 2016.
I know it. But I want to do more. I really do, because like some of the fans that I've had for the longest time, I met at conventions and got to know because of the Skeleton Key series. So I really want to do more of that. Next question.
From Jared Kearney.
Jared.
Who would win in a fight? Nemetre the third or Merhotepre the fifth?
I think Jared just outwitted me.
Oh, Jared.
I don't know who those people are. But I'm going to say Oprah.
Oprah.
She's got to be the most powerful wizard.
You get a car, and you
of
get
all,
a car.
of all time.
For sure.
So I'm going to go Oprah. Phil Manzo. Walking Dead Con. Where is that? Atlanta? I have never heard of the Walking Dead. I mean, it makes sense that there would be one. I've never been on Walking Dead. I've casted some people that were on. Well, no, just the one. No, people. There's some people are just extras. But I've Addie Miller. The little girl zombie from Walking Dead was in Slayground and Fear Fighter and Plan 9. So I worked with her, but
I got to kill her. In Slayground.
Did you kill her?
I totally killed her.
Oh.
Yeah.
God, I didn't even watch that again. That came and went real quick.
Yeah.
That was a short film where she kills her. That's my wife. Hello. Next question.
I was just looking at Mariah's comment.
Oh, she just said hello.
From Stephen Hart.
Stephen.
All right. Let me get to it. Put the glasses on so I can see it. He says, if the mummy runs out of toilet paper while taking a sandy shit, will he use some of his tattered bandages?
Well, does the mummy poop? Is there? I don't understand the mummy eat. He drinks these leaves.
The tunnel leaves.
The tunnel leaves, but I don't know if he eats anything.
If he farts, would it be like a little dust?
Oh yeah, he's a dusty boy. I don't think the mummy eats, but if he did eat, I'm sure he would just poop dust. It would probably like his whole system would probably just create dust. In fact, I think all dust is created by random mummy farts.
Mummy farts.
So if you come in your room at night or during the day when it's sunny, and you look and you dust off something. And you're like, what is this gray stuff? A mummy had come through your house and farted.
Good thing you were at work.
Yes, or looking the other way. Because that is where dust comes from, is mummy farts. Next question.
Well, that kind of brings me to my question
that
I had about if a mummy, if a female mummy, of course, has a mummy baby, would it come out wrapped in leaves or wrapped in the wrapping? Would it come out like a regular baby? Would it be a mummified baby? What do you think?
Well, this gets interesting because Caris is alive. He's just been a prolonged immortality death. Imhotep is undead. So I'm going to say the undead ones not having babies. But the ones that are prolonged life, I'm sure could have kids, but I think it would just be a normal kid. they are slowly decayed. So it all depends if they're little soldiers work.
Well, what if they were with a human?
Well, yeah, because that would obviously go. I mean,
That would certainly help the situation.
if it's two undead having a kid, I'm not sure that would work out. But I'm gonna say it depends on the Mariah's on Nigel, big guy. Yeah, so I'm gonna say alive mummies, possibly gonna have a kid unless they've decayed past the point of little soldiers. Or undead, not gonna do it, just like a zombie can't have a zombie kid unless it's dead alive. Because I think that happened in that. All right, so first movie on the list, The Awakening, 1980. I had never heard of this film. I'm very familiar with the book that it's based on, which is Jewel of the Seven Stars by Bram Stoker. But this was really good. It's Charlton Heston. And I was very surprised. It definitely was influenced by The Exorcist in the way it was shot, and the jump cuts and the smash cuts, and the kind of the weird zooms. And I want to say the majority, well, actually what really surprised me about this movie is that really famous shot of Indiana Jones with the sun, and Indiana Jones is like a silhouette with a bunch of workers, and he's walking along the sandy side while the sun kind of surrounds him. That exact shot is in this movie with Charlton Heston. Not the workers, it's just him, and it's not as good as, it's not as crisp, because I think they like zoomed in on it or cut into it. But it was pretty cool to like see that shot and be like, oh wow, this is probably where they got that idea. And I want to say a lot of the locations that they used were very similar to Raiders of the Lost Ark. So I would imagine that they were shot in the same place. I don't know that for certain, but if you guys can figure that out, let me know. But yes, highly recommend it. It's not about a mummy per se. I mean, it is a mummy, but it's not like a walking around mummy. It's a mummy that it's a sorcerer mummy, female, that has an agenda and is making things happen kind of like a ghost. But there is an actual physical mummy that they deal with. But it's not like walking around, bandage breath, coming to get you. It's a little different.
Smell like potpourri or something.
Hopefully.
Yeah, it might be kind of pleasant to have a mummy around.
Well, yeah, because the flesh is decayed past the point of like, yeah, you never know. All right, we got Megan Harper. What kind of expiration dates would you say the two types of mummy have, based on their creation? How long will their physical bodies last? Well, the Carice long-lived mummy can last forever as long as you keep feeding it the leaves, the water from the leaves. The other ones, well, yeah, because eventually they're gotta decay. But they do. Most of them are like, they always say throw out 4,000. It's like it was 4,000 years ago when the mummy or the guy was mummified. So they can last a long time. Possibly, I would say longer than the Energizer Bunny, but I don't know for certain because they do keep going. But yeah, so far as the immortal ones that just keep on going, they can go forever as long as they keep replenishing themselves with the leaf drink. Which I think
fire would take them out though pretty easily.
Well, they keep killing the Carice mummy with fire, and he keeps coming back as if he was never burned. So I have no idea, even though a look of a burned mummy would be awesome looking, but he's always just back in the bandages, as if it never happened. But I would imagine fire would do it, but every time they burn one, they come back. So I guess it doesn't work. All right. Question
from Stephen Hart. Of all your studies about the mummy thus far, what has been your favorite? What has been your least favorite? Have you learned anything already that you didn't know before?
Well, the two different kinds of mummies, the one being more of a sorcerer, I mean, I guess I knew that, but I never really thought about it. So that's been my big discovery with the mummy studies so far, is like, oh, wow, he's like a wizard. That's really cool. That kind of brings it. I would definitely say the shockingly favorite one was The Awakening. I liked the mummy's hand a whole lot, the second one in the series. Just how playful it was, but kind of being this kind of dark horror, because The Mummy's Tomb and The Mummy's Ghost are kind of just retelling that story. I would say my favorite is The Mummy's Hand. And of course, the remake of The Mummy with Brendan Fraser was great too. But it's hard to compare that to the older ones. I would say The Mummy's Hand, definitely my favorite. I did like The Mummy's Tomb a whole lot, where you dealt with the same characters from the previous movie and then bad things are happening to them. That was very cool. So yeah, I guess that's where I would kind of weigh them out. My least favorite, probably The Mummy's Ghost. It's either that or actually the first Boris Karloff Mummy. Not that it's like crap or anything like that, but it's getting put up against a lot of really strong films. So yeah, I would say it's a toss up between The Mummy's Ghost and the Boris Karloff Mummy.
That makes me sad.
Was that your favorite?
Well, no, but just anything with Boris Karloff, you kind of want to like everything.
Well, it's good.
They did make some.
I mean, it's not like it's like
you
the
know.
worst movie ever made,
Yeah,
but comparing it to all these other ones,
Yeah.
that's kind of tough. All right, next movie we're talking about is The Mummy's Ghost. This one brought in David Carradine and Lon Chaney Jr. playing the actual Carice. This was good. It was kind of just another version of The Mummy's Tomb, which spoilers for these Universal films. The Mummy's Tomb was really cool because the mummy goes back and kills everybody from the mummy's hand. Like, that's kind of the whole movie, is him just getting everybody. And in The Mummy's Ghost, the lead girl just dies. Like, they go to save her, like the whole mob and the hero guy go to actually save her, and they don't. That's kind of cool, because most of the monster movies, the female always lives and the monster gets killed. But this was kind of ballsy for them to go the other way. I did have a big epiphany while watching this movie, because I said it on this show before about why is everybody 40 years old? Like, all the love interests are 40 years old. And then it hit me last night. Fucking World War II is when these movies were made. So everybody under 40 was drafted. Like, they're all overseas fighting. And that's why all these actors are 40 and up. I never even thought about that until I kind of put together last night. It's like, oh, wow, like, these guys are away at war. So that's why the actors look the age that they do. Oh, we got a question on here. What do you think about coming back out with the Universal Mummy? Well, the Universal films, I have to wait and see. Like, I don't want to judge too harshly. I mean, it sounds like they're just kind of doing popcorn movies that there might not be any real depth to them, because they're casting the leads before they're casting the directors, and that is upsetting to me, because I think you could put Johnny Depp in The Invisible Man, but if somebody is directing the film that has a creative angle and you're adding Johnny Depp to it, I think that's a great combo. But when you're getting Johnny Depp and then looking for the guy who's going to make the Johnny Depp movie, I don't think the movies work quite the same way when you do it that way. So I will watch them all, of course, because it's my job, and I've seen some terrible ones anyway, from The Creature in the Black Lagoon especially. Man, some of that hurt, because I have to watch these movies sober because I have to study them. So oof. Not the Creature in the Black Lagoon movies themselves, but swamp monster movies, because that they kind of breaks out to like a whole thing. But I'm gonna watch them, and I'm gonna hope for the best, but I don't have a good feeling about it as of right now. Next question.
I've got
We caught up?
I've got nothing.
All right, we'll talk about the last movie on the list, The Pyramid. This is a newer mummy movie. And it's not actually a mummy. I mean, it's a mummy, but it's not a mummy. Spoilers. If you're going to watch The Pyramid, don't listen to this anymore. Come back and watch it later. Because I know it's a newer, so it's not like we're talking about something that's like 30, 40 years old, or even 70 years old. This is a movie that came out, like, I think last year. Not the greatest movie. Has good points, and the sets are fantastic. but it's Anubis. It's a god that's walking around ripping out hearts and weighing them on a scale to decide whether they go on to the afterlife or not. Spoiler alert, he hasn't found anybody who's worthy to go on to the afterlife. So he just disintegrates their bodies over and over again. It's a found footage movie that breaks the fourth wall, not the fourth wall, the 3 wall of the found footage. Like, it's found footage, and then all of a sudden there's a camera outside of that nobody's running, but it's weird how they do that. I mean, it's kind of cool for the gags, but it's not all found footage. It's just the majority is found footage. So it's kind of strange because it's like a movie about a movie. Kind of. Dude from True Blood. I think I watched it last night with Jared Kearney, and the one thing that we both kind of took away from it is that none of the characters were interesting. Like, they were all just, you didn't care. You didn't really worry if any of them lived or died. You're just kind of waiting for the next gag. So it's worth a watch, like, maybe, but it's definitely not one of the it's not like a major, like, go see it. And you wouldn't, like, if you got nothing else to watch, I would say watch The Pyramid. But it is definitely, oh, well, there you go, because that was for Steven. Yeah, it's definitely the worst of the movies that I've seen for the initial Mummy thing so far. Mariah, what is the process called? What is it called? That the ancient edition mummification.
What is the question?
She said, what is the process called that the ancient Egyptians used to preserve the dead?
It's mummification.
I believe it's mummification. Welcome to the show. She might be drinking.
I'm wondering.
All right, guys. Well, that's it. We got another show in 2 weeks, which is wrapping up we'll be talking about The Mummy's Curse, the final, well, not the final, but the non-Abbott and Costello final, and then Legion of the Dead, which I don't know much about. So that's probably going to be something like The Pyramid. But yeah, we'll be talking about those, and then eventually we'll have 3 shows where I go through this whole additionals list of, how many is on this one?
A lot.
18 things. I'm actually reading the book right now, Jewel of the 7 Stars. But yeah, so thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you on the next one. Da, 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 da.